votes.
Yeah. I didn't have a shot at any point during that game.
Very sad I couldn't play it.
I'm mostly annoyed because I also don't have the recording from the first half of the fucking game. So I can't go back and evaluate whether or not Carl's statement is true that I helped to deal tons of damage to him at the very beginning of the game, because in my opinion, I helped pass a vote that was won against him, and then he started saying, like, I'm good with votes that deal damage to Steve.
Well,
I don't remember.
For which you gained nothing out of it. You made me burn the edge to tie it, and then decided that you were going to vote it up. So you cost me pool and the edge, and then you were clear that you were happy if no damage went on Jan, but I was taking damage, and so you were a third predator. I don't need 3 predators at the table. So,
what I got out of it was goodwill from Hines early on. I got votes from Hines that I needed. We just couldn't. We had a little discussion about, like, what is the plan going forward for this? And Hines' plan was, I'm going to be going forward. That is my plan. And if you're going forward, that is the plan.
If you had negotiated those votes to do damage on Jan, you would have gotten my 4 votes on everything that happened, and I would have been fine. But you never negotiated that Hines' votes would do Vincent and Jan. You just were happy that they damaged me, and that was okay with you, which made you a third. Like, if you were working with Hines and said, hey, let's splash their damage on my prey, because, you know, when I do splash, I'm splashing your prey. Like, that forms a great axis, and, you know, I would have been fine taking that initial damage then, if I knew that
3 Methuselahs voting against my votes. 3 Methuselahs voting against Jan, you, and Vincent.
Well, there's a lot of vote text.
The other way was just 2 Methuselahs voting against.
I think
you just establish yourself as a third predator. That's all, and I don't need 3 predators.
Yeah, I understand that is your perspective, but there was no negotiation that happened from you at any point. I did what I did, having a communication with Hines, tried to ask you something. Well, that much later in the game, anyway.
You asked me a question. I didn't. What was I supposed to say? I had nothing to offer you there. It was a vote which I had cast all my votes.
Acceptance of being, like, somebody who is going to, like, I don't know, give something back at a later point. Like, I don't feel like there was any attempt to negotiate with me. I also feel like I would have lost to the Gangrel anyway. It was a game I was slated to lose unless the table fell a certain way. And the table wasn't likely to fall a certain way if I backed the Gangrel to sweep the 2 players behind me with relative ease.
Yeah, you had a very you could have just ousted Jan if lucky.
Yeah, I mean, you and I could have voted Jan off the table.
What form? Then he would have been behind you.
In the 4-player.
Yes, but
instead of the damage on me, if you get Jan off the table,
Carl would have been delighted with just a predator.
I'd totally make sure you oust Jan, like, and then we'll figure it out. Like,
yeah.
Assuming I get Hines, who seemed to have all of the wakes every time I tried to get my killing.
Yeah, my decks are quite defensive.
I noticed.
You got quite close. I think there were a lot of tough choices to make. It wasn't, at least for me, it wasn't easy to see which action would be good. Like bleeding, obviously, okay, but calling the votes.
Yeah, and at the very end, I had made a deal. I am not a person who goes back on arrangements that I've set up with people. I figured my best shot was play honest, try to snipe the VP I could get from Jan. When it became obvious that Jan was willing to just let Hines potentially take me, or at least that's what it was perceived to be, it was like, well, fuck it. Like, I guess killing Jan is also just a thing that isn't going to work out either. So I was left with literally zero options. I think I played in a thing that gave me the most opportunity to potentially snipe Jan at least one time, and at no point did it manage to happen.
I think you made one major misplay, Steve.
That sleeping mind.
No, forgetting that Opikun could make one abstain.
No, I knew several times that Opikun could make someone abstain.
Yeah, I didn't. I don't think he forgot that.
Yeah, there was no situation where I would have wanted to use Opikun. The situation.
I locked Opikun because I was certain he would.
Yes.
Probably lock him. To make that last vote.
Yeah.
Sort of fail.
The fatal play for me was literally that turn with the sleeping mind. My hand was good. I threw out that sleeping mind, declared it superior because I have brain dead repetition syndrome. And so like I tossed it and like immediately after saying it, went, Juliet Parr is going to block this action.
Yeah, but honestly, it wouldn't have mattered either way because I could have blocked and maneuvered with any of them.
Okay, but that's fine. That would have been cards you didn't have for later.
Yeah, fair enough.
There's a difference between you burning a card that was a stealth later that may have gotten you blocked by the gangrel versus you getting the free maneuver that turn.
Sure.
Ugh.
Well, exciting game.
It was.
Yeah. It was tense, which is what I like.
Yeah.
I was the weak player, sacrificed by Jan for no reason.
The Madness Network was so strong, and then just instantly it fell apart.
I didn't. Honestly, I had the oversight in that moment.
My biggest,
but it wasn't really a big problem for you. Allowing Von Son to be ousted. I mean, votes needed to disappear from the table as soon as possible.
But it was risky because Carl could have gotten 2 VPs quite easily if you didn't have that much defense.
Yeah,
it
wasn't
a good play.
No.
Well,
no, you drew your gun and then someone forced you to press the trigger. That's everyone voted for you pressing the trigger. So
I was holding a monkey wrench since like turn.
Yes, I was sure you were gonna play with Camille.
Oh yeah,
that last bleed, yeah.
Yeah.
I was counting the blood on your vampires, and
so was I.
I had that, and I'm just like I was, I really don't want to use that because I don't. If you drew a bounce in the middle of all of the shenanigans, I didn't want to get bounced for 5. But I also was expecting you to potentially oust Steve on the following turn, and then that didn't happen, and then Steve got you guys to gang up on me. So, it was.
I just wanted one more turn. That's my usual stuff when in these situations where I don't have the vote turn.
If you would have split the vote, like if you had 2 Iron Fists in hand anyway, 2
I
back,
had
2 in
two.
front,
Yeah, I had 2 Iron Fists.
I wouldn't
I
have
played.
minded it.
Well,
Yeah,
you
you
played
had.
both, but you
Yeah.
tried to just oust and then have a blocker, and that didn't. So I couldn't delay Diana because she'd just cancel it.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah, I was
chose not
very
to do-
sad, by the way, when you didn't use the delay because it was Diana that was acting, and I was like, oh, this is what's just gonna happen here, isn't it? It's gonna be on me to pull this trigger and not leave Jan to do it on his own.
Well, and because I'm like, I've got a delay. If the votes you're holding are both fists, then you can't do any damage to me. But you had the parity shift,
Mm-hmm.
and that was enough. I mean, because I play my blocking differently if I have more pool, right?
Yeah.
Like if I still had 6, if I had the 3 more, then I have 6, then I don't immediately, because there's no point in declaring a no block. Jan's not going to boost it because he was already ousting me, so I just bounced it. And I also had to be careful because I didn't have any wakes in my hand. And I was hoping that when I played the bounce, I had another bounce in my hand, and I just I didn't have a way to get up my vampire.
You seem to be struggling really badly with intercept that whole game. Like I feel like
mine's not an intercept deck.
Okay.
Mine is a thing deck. There's 18 things in it.
Gotcha.
I've struggled with.
Keep throwing guys out, put on pressure, but you never got enough guys.
The misplay on Jan's turn where I forgot to lock the dreams, because I would have had the dreams available for cards on my turn instead of having to lock it on my turn to put the blood there to get Mickey Wheeler. That was my mistake.
Gotcha.
And that could have maybe helped with that turn a bit. It was okay, but I mean, yeah, no, mine is the only organized resistance are in there is basically because I'm expecting some deck like Jan's to get by me and I can bounce.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah, I'm not the blocky version. I'm just I've got 18 things in this deck. I'm there to make a bunch of vampires and play a bunch of lanes, which I only saw 3 of, and 1 was suddened. So that
it was a bit puzzled because you weren't blocking my political actions, playing to stealth.
Yeah, I just that's not what this version
that type of deck.
Yeah. This is like kind of like the reunion Kamet deck, right? It's going to make a lot of dudes and bounce and have some barons for maybe some vote sway / defense, but yeah.
But Vincent, since this was your first V5 game, what's your impression?
Well, there were a lot of votes. Always the case.
No, this is there are usually at least enough votes on a decent amount of votes on the table, but not normally this political.
Yeah. So, well, I just picked a deck that was arrived second during the Finland tournament, but it had some Asher tablets and so on, so I had to remove them. But its only option is vote, so I have like 2 governs in the deck.
2 governs?
Yeah, and I was playing Juliet Par, so
was it in your starting crypt? In your starting throat read?
Yeah, she was the one with 2 blood on her when I died. Well, I didn't have votes. I have less votes than you guys. Fewer master cards in play and so on. So I was a bit back. No, not back, but behind.
Yeah.
So anyway, it happens. But yeah, it was fun. A bit repetitive, I'd say, all these parity shifts and but yeah, but it's I mean it's not really representative, I think, of the game as it is.
No, Revolutionary Council. Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
So, yeah, well.
I missed Forced March.
Yeah.
In V5.
Yeah, please. Man, the Tories would really love that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A best free drive, so you can play free drive if you want.
A little more expensive and doesn't get stealth, yeah.
At least with Diana.
No, I noticed that there is no DI and no Dark Prince. So I don't know if it speeds up the game or not. Maybe on Jol, but on Lucky it's must be the same.
Well, that's actually kind of an interesting topic, because at one point the idea of promos printed after a certain point was told to us to be potentially how V5 was going to be, and that unnamed format was going to be, and then it got kind of rolled back, which made sense. I understand the decision, because DI is an annoying card, but I was also under the impression we weren't going to get Archon Investigation, but that popped in later as well. So who knows?
I just hope Hugh said on Discord a few days ago, you never know, never say never on cards which allow actions during other people's turns.
Yeah.
And I sincerely hope this will not be the case. Because, well, at least not in that in the way that you can steal impulse, ask, and then someone is not finished. And
so I'll give credit here. BCP is doing a very good job. You guys are doing a very good job at new cards coming out being much cleaner. Even if I might significantly disagree with the queuing position here, I respect that at least it is mostly clear in the way that it was described, and with a few asterisks, because there are so many cards in VTES that force asterisks no matter what the card is. It's nice that as we move forward, this game moves away from being go and dig through the Usenet articles to, okay, these things fit. And V5 does a much clearer job of making that feel streamlined. It definitely feels like the difference between modern and Magic and legacy and Magic.
And since you cleared, I felt the queuing and also stun as a new keyword was a bit of clearing, an attempt to clear up some stuff. Is there anything else you want to potentially, or you're thinking about to clear?
No, it really depends on the need. So to have, we need the opportunity to do it also with new cards. If you have new cards that still exploit some, some mechanisms that have already been used, but are maybe wordy, like the stun effect. Yes, it's an opportunity to maybe to remove that thing and or to shorten it. For queuing, it's more because I think it was spoiled anyway. There's a new card in mimics the Siren's Lure. And the whole thing about queuing combats wasn't very clear. It was clear in the rulings. I mean, it was used throughout all the rulings, but it wasn't in the rules. What happens if let's say I play a Psyche and there's already something going on? So that was the idea. And and also to streamline a bit with the cards that are using block resolution. I think there's still some confusion because people read it another way that it's written. But we're trying to get a clean, streamlined workflow somehow.
Insert natural language joke here.
Yeah, that's,
sorry, I do a lot of those. I'm sorry. It's fun.
And,
so
I think,
but there's nothing else in the pipeline right now. If or maybe something will pop up later. But
I think the questions for queuing, at least that was my impression, also come from the variety of rulings one has to know to interpret, and everybody has to interpret them like in order correctly to get out the same result. Which I don't know if that's been the case before, and now queuing is clear and maybe disrupts how some playgroup is used to play it.
Yeah, the workflow I put on, I shared also encompass the action continuation. You know, when you continue an action, because it's a bit weird. The action is blocked. There's a combat, and then you continue the action. So the action isn't blocked anymore, but has been blocked, and and can be blocked again, and you can still play cards and so on. So it's I mean, the whole action should be there should be a workflow for the whole action. But
yes, please.
It's a bit complicated to handle every case, so I just focused on the block resolution part and the queuing combats and continuing the action. But the idea would be to extend this workflow to cover all the action or all the parts of the action.
Yes, please.
Action. That sounds amazing. Thank you.
That's a lot of things moving on. You have to consider this special ruling, and then you realize that it conflicts with another ruling, so you have to put things in the box, outside the box, on the right, on the left, and always adjusting things so it covers every case. And sometimes you have to revert also some rulings. For instance, the Syrian's law that had a combat occurring after the action resolution, but not as part of a block of combats. So
Can you, if I can make a wish, I'll make a wish. Whether you take it up or not is of course up to you, but I feel like there are a lot of small mini steps introduced by rulings or by maybe not as clear language in the rulebook. Like, for example, burning the action card at the same point in time, whether blocked or successful. I think it's something which would ease a lot, or other. It's very complicated to remember you burn a card, put it in limbo, then continue the action with Promise of Mist, put it back on the table. But that's my personal...
when the action is blocked, the card goes to the airship.
Yeah, exactly.
It's in limbo between the moment you play it and the moment the action is resolved.
Okay, to throw a joke back, though, at Jan that he was doing to me the other day, you're starting to sound like you want a little bit more of this back in the game.
Combat consists of 3 steps.
Press the rest.
What was that movie?
If you
There's only one exam question, but it's got 27 subparts.
And there's a question on the forum about how should strike resolution and damage handling should be in 2 steps or in the same step but with 2 parts. I mean, I don't know, it's the same, but I mean, at some point, just view of the mind, whether you consider it as a whole single step or. I mean, even single steps can be split by effects sometimes. So.
And it's a very technical consideration too. Like, not in game flow, but is it step 1, step 1A, step 1B, or
Well, the idea, I think, is in one step you try to, it's just organization. So you try to put everything that is relevant in the same step, and everything that something else or something that is sequential or that happens afterwards in another step, and both can be in the same super step. I don't know how to call it. It's just the way you want to organize things. Because there could just be, plenty of steps on the same level, one after the other, in fact.
I mean, it's a lot of juggling, though, that I appreciate that there is a lot of work being done on. I think you get a lot of flack for not responding fast enough to stuff, but I feel like you are pretty active, as active as any one of you from this company can be in responding in what is a reasonable time. Sometimes you'll avoid a post if it just sounds like somebody complaining about how he didn't like the way queuing was worded initially. But that's an acceptable thing to pass over because really it's just somebody ranting for a moment about how they wish the system could be a little better, but it can't actually be done.
His post.
But at the end of the day, like, you were very active in that posting for the stuff that was really relevant, answering the questions. You've been really good in the Discord, which is a lot. You're still usually active in the forums where you can be. You're doing a lot of good work. The game is better for it, obviously.
And how much? Sorry.
I mean, it's also a community thing, rely on people answering on the Discord too. And if it looks correct, I'll just say, okay, it's fine.
Yeah.
I won't intervene.
I would suggest maybe it's like coming up with some tag that you use, though, on the comments that are correct to give it to people. Because I've seen people that will, even if the correct ruling was listed there, you'll still have somebody who continues to argue that that's not the case. It's not happening a lot. And it definitely seems like it's gone down in the last couple of years.
Yeah, but if it's not, I don't want to put a coin, in the machine again and say, someone said, but do you really mean that? Okay. Because sometimes the answer is mostly correct or acceptable, I'd say. Sometimes there could be some kind of precision added, but okay, if it's fine, and unless someone says, calls me and tag me to ask me if it's an official answer, otherwise I'll let it be.
Gotcha. So in the event of like not ending up potentially giving a yes to an answer that could be not properly fully explained, you don't want to give the thumbs up and then all of a sudden everybody thinks that, like, oh, it means this way, and that this is not okay. Gotcha. Thank you.
How much?
Yeah, it's really hard to think about rules, like, as I've been a little lax in helping lately, but as I help trying to get some of these old rules in Lionel's database, right? And you try to think of the wording that's going to succinctly capture what that ruling is, so that when people look at it, they know what it means. And it's like there's times that the group of us that are doing that argues like over the tiniest words, because you're trying to distill a ruling from, LSJ or Floppy or Vincent and into, a sentence that makes it sane, so that you're not putting paragraphs of rulings up onto these cards when you look them up. And they all have links, so you can go to the source material, but there's great difficulty even in trying to sometimes summarize that logic in a way that's going to reduce the number of questions.
And sometimes it's perfectly valid in the context of a card, and then it's attached to another card, and then it means something totally different.
Right.
It becomes ambiguous at some point.
And that's the other problem, a lot of times it's like, well, that ruling applies here, but the way we worded it in our summary doesn't. And then it's like, okay, so it's like, can we can we get it worded so that it covers both cases, because the ruling covers both cases, or do we really need to, have two separate wordings to make it so that's the other thing is like, yeah, this ruling does apply to two things, but it's often, sometimes you can come up with that succinct wording that covers both cases, and sometimes you got to split them and to make it clear. And it's really, we fortunately have and have had in the past a lot of very good logical thinkers when it comes to the rules, whether or not you agree with some of the premises from which they started with. I know people complained about some of, well, if LSJ didn't start here, we wouldn't have ended up there, right? Well, but that's where we started, and that's how, those were the first principles, and this is where we are. But the logic is always followed. And that's the most important thing, is that you can logically reason about the rules that we have, right? And so, having Vincent now in charge of that, it's, very, again, logical thought. And, the diagrams are good because it exposes, cases which are outliers, like Siren's Lure, which really needs to be fixed, right? And so, but it's, I as a rules adjacent person, I can tell you it's a pain. So I can't even imagine what it's like to have to be the guy that has to give the final word, because that means you can't mess up when you give the final word, right? Because everybody's picking apart everything you say. I know, because I pick apart everything you say.
Well, I like to thank also the contributors that, like you, who help a lot, adding rulings. So it really helps. Most people will just look at the ruling attached to a card and don't spend times on the Usenet to find out the correct ruling. So thanks. And there are also contributors on the rulebook, but there's a lot of work to do to review everything.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I know.
It takes time.
But what I wanted to ask, just like LSJ rulings seem all over the place and not quite very sorted. Is it hard to just keep them all on tap? Because sometimes some rulings, even from LSJ, seem like he forgot what he was ruling there.
Yeah, I mainly use the Usenet to find out which ruling was made last. Sometimes if they are contradicting themselves. There are some rulings that are lost that were on the Wild Wolf thing,
or on Tom's hardware.
Board. Yeah, there's a board that is lost also. So yeah, but I try to remember also which cards apply and try to find a similar ruling on another card, which helps me sometimes to understand the logic behind it. It's not very clear every time. So.
Yeah.
But at some point, if it isn't clear enough, at some point I have to make a choice and say, okay, it seems logical to rule it that way, unless I'm proven wrong by another ruling somewhere I didn't find. But yeah, at some point you have to move on and say, okay, that seems logical,
and then you always have the choice of issuing a reverse.
Yeah, I try not to, but yeah, sometimes it happens.
You don't
some messy things with the outside door glass, for instance, whether it opens a prevention window right away. Can you please still play cards, and it has something to do with barons that can be used during another similar step, and well, so you have to go back and forth sometimes. Say, okay, a route that you couldn't, but in fact you can, and it's sometimes well. Most of the time, it's the fault of some very exotic cards with exotic effects, like dealing damage outside of strike before range. What is the range at that point? I'm still not pleased with how the range is handled before range, but maybe I'll change something. I don't know.
I would like that.
Yeah, we lost the White Wolf rulings. I mean, I don't expect Usenet's going away, but like, we really need to be thinking about it. Like at a certain point, it really needs to be like not a link to the Usenet, but like here's the post, just a clone of the post, so it just left for all history with its, we can summarize it, but here was, the original wording. Though sometimes you're like, oh, you have to dig back like 4 or 5 things to understand how, the argument that led to the conclusion. Yeah,
Yeah, but if you clone the page, where do you put it? I mean,
right.
So what we really need is somebody to develop a web crawler that pulls down all of Usenet and gives us a ability to search it properly for data related to VTES.
I think you can clone a group because the idea was anyone could just set up a group and host it. So I think there's a way to clone it.
Okay.
Haven't looked into it, but
it's all right. Somebody out there can probably give an answer at some point. So
yeah.
We'll just build an AI agent that does really answers for us.
They're so accurate nowadays.
Yeah, never hallucinate anymore at all.
The last few times, like I tried it once with 2 different decks, like give me deck reviews, and he constantly, the agent constantly made some cards up. Asked, what did it do? And he even made up the same card a second time. After I asked, are you certain this card is a VTES? No, I'm sorry, I made that mistake. So not very reliable.
No.
So.
They're sometimes as reliable as some people I know.
No, we have now bots, subscribing to a forum, registering.
Yeah.
And they have some. Well, it's a bit off, but it's logical what they say. They oh, it's a nice place to make tournaments. I'm really eager to play against some of the Methodisms. And in fact, it's just a bot, and
yeah,
we didn't need that. I mean, the bot with a kind of a link to I don't know, to a Chinese website selling its stuff. At least was clear that it was a bot. Now you have to figure out whether the seems legit.
Yeah.
Does it make really sense? What's the point? It's becoming a nightmare.
Just wait till you start getting into games and finding out that you're playing against a bot who's really just there to promote their website periodically.
Yeah, I read an article that was saying that basically the internet would be dead in like 5 years or 2 years because it would be only not bots on the internet. And I mean, the fraction of humans using it would be so tiny that just you couldn't use it anymore.
Yeah, but we're all actively engaging with it pretty regularly. So, well, not all, but like the majority of people are actively engaging with it. So it's winning the revolution right now. But we have the same potential revolution with billionaires, and we kind of let that slide too. So, what are you gonna do? Sorry, that's a little defeatist.
Yeah.
We have some. We need some safe haven.
Yeah.
So one against werewolves, one against bot.
I mean, the technocracy is always a big problem, right? And this is just their clear workings trying to ruin everything for everyone.
Yeah, pretty mages.
Yeah.
So anyway.
Yeah, I think this was very good. Thank you all for the games and the chat afterwards.
Yeah, I'll play combat next time, and then everyone will be playing combat. Just random.
I was about to play combat, but I didn't.
You should have.
Jan pushed me into Salubri, so I picked a deck with a Salubri in it.
You put Abakun in every venture deck you had. I don't want to hear it.
He's not in the Mithras deck. I've thought about it, but he's not in there.
He's a very nice vampire, though.
Yeah.
I was expecting Jan playing Enhanced Coagulants.
I didn't get my disguised weapon yet. But
you just need concealed for that. It only does 3 damage.
No, I don't. I think concealed, like having such a generic effect, I don't like it personally.
Well, I mean, obviously all things subject to change, but I mean, Hughes talked previously in these after game chats that he doesn't really want concealed in V5. So.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, that's why he was upset it was in the draft kit because he doesn't want it in V5.
Yeah, I feel like is the draft kit just a place where like lots of people get together to argue about whether or not something should be or not be in V5 that may or may not be questionable? Is that like what working on the draft kit is at this point? You can say no comment if that can't be discussed.
No, but some cards were removed from the kit because they weren't in the spirit of what we are producing.
Mm-hmm.
But no, it's not defining the V5 format. Could be, but right now it's just. I mean, it's still on work on progress.
Yeah.
So is there a second iteration?
There should be, but yeah, we are busy with other stuff, so right now it's not.
Gotcha.
It's not a thing.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I've got a copy of the first edition of the kit. So I didn't know what the changes were. I should find those out so that I can update it with my own cards, and we can test the second edition of it. So
we'll see.
Yeah, interesting. All right.
Yeah.
Thank you all so much.
Thank you.
It's fun as always, gents.
Indeed. Sorry, Carl. Please don't take playing with you on Wednesdays away from me. Please. Please.
I remember.
Look, Steve, if you'd won, it would have been okay.
Yeah, I know that. That's why I was so disappointed in losing. I know Carl is much more willing to accept when I do something that is a little shitty if I can pull the victory out of it. So, all right. Good night, all.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
All right. See ya.
Bye.
Bye.